I hushed them, jerking head and eyebrows up, and in a low voice told them, "Load this herd and move fast and put the ship's head toward the breakers." They all pitched in at loading and then embarked and struck their oars into the sea. Far out, as far off shore as shouted words would carry, I sent a few back to the adversary. "O Cyclops, would you feast on my companions? Puny am I in a caveman's hands? How do you like that beating we gave you, you damned cannibal, eater of guests under your roof? Zeus and the gods have paid you." The blind thing in his doubled fury broke a hilltop in his hands and heaved it after us. Ahead of our black prow it struck and sank, welled in a spuming geyser, a giant wave that washed the ship sternmost back to shore. I got the longest boat hook out and stood fending us off with furious nods to all to put their backs into a racing stroke, row, row, or perish. So the long oars bent, kicking the foam sternward, making head until we drew away and twice as far. Now when I cupped my hands, I heard the crew in low voices protesting, "God's sake, Captain, why bait the beast again? Let him alone. That tidal wave he made on the first throw all but beached us, all but stove us in. Give him another bearing with your trumpeting and he'll get the range and lob a boulder. Aye, he'll smash our timbers and our heads together." I would not heed them in my glorying spirit, but let my anger flare and yelled, "Cyclops, if ever mortal man inquire how you were put to shame and blinded, tell him Odysseus, raider of cities, took your eye, Laertes' son, whose home's on Ithaca." At this he gave a mighty sob and rumbled, "Now comes the weird upon me spoken of old. A wizard grand and wondrous lived here, Telemus, son of Eurymus. Great lengths of days he had in wizardry among the Cyclops, and these things he foretold for time to come. My great eye lost and at Odysseus's hands. Always I had in mind some giant, armed in giant force, would come against me here. But you, small, pitiful, and twiggy, you put me down with wine, you blinded me. Come back, Odysseus, and I'll treat you well, praying the god of earthquake to befriend you. His son I am, for by his avowal fathered me, and if he will, he may heal me of this black wound, he and no other of all the happy gods or mortal men." Few words I shouted in reply to him. "If I could take your life, I would take your time away and hurl you down to hell. The god of the earthquake could not heal you there." At this, he stretched his hands out in his darkness toward the sky of stars and prayed Poseidon. "O hear me, Lord, blue girdler of the islands. If I am thine indeed, and thou art father, grant that Odysseus, raider of cities, never see his home, Laertes' son I mean, who kept his hall on Ithaca. Should destiny intend that he shall see his roof again among his family in his father's land, far be that day and dark the years between. Let him lose all companions and return under strange sail to bitter days at home." In these words he prayed, and the god heard him. Now he laid his hands upon a bigger stone and wheeled around, titanic for the cast, to let it fly in the black-prowed vessel's track. But it fell short, just aft the steering oar, and whelming seas rose giant above the stone to bear us onward toward the island. There, as we ran in, we saw the squadron waiting, the trim ships drawn up side by side, and all our troubled friends who waited, looking seaward. We beached her, grinding keel in the soft sand, and waded in ourselves on the sandy beach. Then we unloaded all the Cyclops' flock to make division, share and share alike. Only my fighters vowed that my ram, the prize of all, should go to me. I slew him by the seaside and burnt his long thigh bones to Zeus beyond the storm cloud, Cronus' son, who rules the world. But Zeus disdained my offering. Destruction for my ships he had in store, and death for those who sailed them, my companions. Now all day long, until the sun went down, we made our feast on mutton and sweet wine, till after sunset in the gathering dark we went to sleep above the wash of ripples. When the young dawn with fingertips of rose touched the world, I roused the men, gave orders to man the ships, cast off the mooring lines, and filing in to sit beside the rowlocks, oarsmen in line dipped oars in the gray sea. So we moved out, sad in the vast offing, having our precious lives, but not our friends.